Ladies and gentlemen, it is a bad day for gamers as Nintendo has just hit the creators of PalWorld with a bit of a serious claim of copyright infringement. They will be suing the creators of PalWorld. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what PalWorld is, we're not exactly a gaming channel, but this is PalWorld. It's a video game very similar to Pokemon, very similar to Ark. It's a survival game with
Shoot.
very cartoony graphics. Credit to Game Riot for the gameplay because I don't have it installed right now, moving computers and whatnot. But
Should probably get an X. I don't
very
actually have an
interesting
X.
art style. Not exactly realistic, but not exactly Pokemon's level of, cartooniness. You have to mine rocks, you have to build stuff, you have to farm, you have to manage creatures and collect creatures. It has a little bit of everything. And it came out about a year ago, 8 months ago, and nothing happened. It was silent. People were making jokes saying, oh, they were going to get sued by Nintendo. Watch out. The Nintendo legal team is coming. They're going to hit you with the cease and desist. It's over. Everybody buy the game now while you can. And it seems like that reality is actually here now, as Nintendo put out this tweet. Obviously, I don't read this language. Not even going to do an impression because I might get canceled or something. But luckily it was translated. It says, we posted the news release filing lawsuit for infringement of patent rights against Pocket Pair Inc. And if you click on that, we go to this site. September 19th, 2024, to whom it may concern, the Pokemon Company Nintendo Co., Ltd., filing lawsuit for infringement of patent rights against Pocket Pair Incorporated. Nintendo Co., Ltd., HQ Kyoto, Minimaku, Japan, Representative Director and President Shintaro Furukawa, Nintendo hereafter, together with the Pokemon Company, filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocket Pair Inc. HQ 210-2 Higashigo Tanda Shinegawaku, Tokyo, defended hereafter. See, we're all learning a little bit of Japan here, a little bit of Japanese, on September 18th, 2024. So this happened yesterday. Okay, it is now September 19th. This lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that PalWorld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes on multiple patent rights. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against infringement on its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard to establish over the years. Now, what's kind of interesting about this is they are, filing the lawsuit for patents, right? Patents are essentially someone can go and almost copyright trademark an idea of a feature, whether it be in a technology item, like video game. If you know what Shadow of Mordor is, there's a feature where if you get killed by an enemy, he gets stronger. That's a patented idea. There are plenty of video games that are able to patent ideas, and if other games use them, it's illegal. So the interesting thing is that Nintendo Pokemon is not suing PalWorld for character theft or idea theft in the sense of oh, you stole our idea of Pokemon, but more so on the rights of stealing specific patents. And now, after doing a little bit of Googling, I found this thread on the games Reddit, right? And on this Reddit, it says Nintendo with the Pokemon Company have filed a patent infringement lawsuit in the Tokyo District Court against Pocket Pair Inc. And it takes you to the thread that we just read. And this guy, can someone smarter than me explain why it's a patent infringement issue? I'm far from legally knowledgeable, but I would have thought this was more in the realm of copyright. I would have thought the same thing, but I guess PalWorld was slick enough to get around the copyright ideas and copyright rules by changing things in just a way where it's not exactly stealing, it's simply parody or whatnot. Either way, this guy Circus Survive would say patentsjustia.com, the Pokemon Company, he would link the site, list of patents related to the Pokemon games, and PalWorld does several of these things at a glance. I'm sure the PalWorld defense will revolve around the nuances and how their game doesn't do these things exactly. Now we have the website, patents at Justia, patents assigned to the Pokemon Company. And this is a website that tells you every company that has patents related to something, right? You can click on patents and you can see all these different companies: Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Nikon, Nissan, Walmart, Twitter, any company you can think of, sorted by different types of classes as they go by. You can click on and read into what they do. Now, someone did the same thing for the Pokemon company, and we can see these guys have page after 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 page of patents and different ideas that they have patented, which is why it's very dangerous to create a I guess you could say a knockoff of a game. Mind you, I like PalWorld. I really like the game. I played it when it first came out. It kind of stopped hitting the same, so I did uninstall it to make room for other games. But when I was playing it, I really did enjoy the game of PalWorld, and for the most part, everyone kind of enjoyed PalWorld. For example, this is literally how it looks today on September 19th. Very positive, reviewed by 274,000 people. A lot of people are going to start writing reviews now because of the Nintendo stuff. Again, more people are probably going to be buying this game now because of the Nintendo stuff. If Nintendo's lawsuit goes through, there might be a chance that PalWorld, the creators of the game Pocket Pair, just remove the game from storefronts just to, avoid any further infringements or having to pay even more money for costs. Even on Steam charts, we can see that PalWorld's still getting, 16,000 people playing an hour ago. 26,000 people playing at its 24-hour peak, and at once it had 2,101,000 people playing. So yeah, PalWorld is still doing extremely well. Obviously, in January when it came out, it had an average of 1 million people. The next month it dropped off to about half, and then it dropped off to about a quarter of that. And then, it's still holding its own, and they're still adding things, still updating, adding new content. And it sucks that, something like these Pokemon patents, which are very vague and very open-ended, can completely, possibly destroy this game. Again, it's been out for 8 months. It's taken Nintendo 8 months to put together a pretty hefty and scary lawsuit against the Pocket Pal company. And the reason I say these are just very vague is because, like, we have this one that was filed on August 1st, 2022. Date of patent September 10th, 2024. So this one's relatively recent. It says a user breeds a virtual life form by practicing good sleep habits and stays motivated towards practicing good sleep habits while enjoying breeding the virtual life form. So it sounds like they've patented the idea of like raising an animal, but also it like using real world time. So like if it's 8 p.m. at night and you go to bed, you'll wake up and the animal's born, something like that. A game server manages progress of a breeding game of a virtual life form. The game server, including circuitry configured to acquire sleep data that at least includes a sleep pattern indicating a bedtime and a wake up time of a user, store the acquired sleep data as a sleep history, and update the breeding game based on the sleep pattern and the sleep history, right? So it gets really specific because, like, sure, you could argue that PalWorld has like a day-night cycle, it has a breeding system, but there's nowhere in PalWorld that it like manages the progress of a breeding game using sleep data and a sleep pattern of bedtime and wake up time. It doesn't have any of that, right? We can just keep going more and just kind of read. And again, they have another patent for breeding. Nintendo seems to really have or not Nintendo, Pokemon has a bit of a breeding thing going on, right? An object is to provide a user with motivation to enjoy waking up in the morning and guide the user to sufficient awakening by generating a breeding event and a breeding game of a virtual life form when the user wakes up in the morning. A game server that manages progress of a breeding game of virtual life form can provide a user with motivation to enjoy waking up in the morning and guide the user to sufficient awakening by generating a breeding event and a breeding game of virtual life form when the user wakes up in the morning. Didn't they just say that? So yeah, Pokemon really loves breeding. Again, patents are really weird because over time, it sucks to see, again, I mentioned the Shadow of Mordor example. It really sucks to see a patent or an idea of a video game that's really cool can never be used again just because someone wrote it out like this. Again, an abstract. So I keep referencing the Warner Brothers Shadow of Mordor Nemesis system patent because I think it's one of the dumbest patents. It's one of the first times I remember hearing about a patent like this that affects like video games as a whole. Because I'm a nerd, I love video games, right? I want as many video games to have as many features and cool game-changing elements as possible. Now this is from the website gamesindustry.biz by James Batchelor. Warner Brothers Interactive has issued a patent for the Nemesis AI system found in Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Again, it's this feature where like these different types of enemies, if they kill your character, they become stronger. They remember your character. And it's a pretty interesting feature that I feel like a lot of like cool RPG games could benefit. And they can't because the freaking idea is patented until 2035. And now what this feature does is it would patent the Nemesis characters, Nemesis forts, social vendettas, followers in games. So basically characters, bases that these characters are in, any types of like NPCs walking around. No other game can use the idea of like characters and enemies remembering your character and leveling up based on it and whatnot because of Warner Brothers and Shadow Mordor patent. It went into effect on February 23rd, and could be maintained until 2035. And it's interesting because it says right here, however, studios are still able to create their own systems that are similar but have enough distinct aspects to stand out, such as the mercenary system seen in recent Assassin's Creed titles. Warner Brothers originally applied for the patent in 2015, but has been asked to revise and resubmit it several times due to the similarities with other patents, including one held by Square Enix, Webkins, and mobile title QONQR. So see, you get in this weird, interesting place where companies are trying to patent ideas that already exist. Like, do you not see the irony in you trying to patent something that was already patented? And it just gets to a weird point where, like, every game company and every, large conglomerate of these greedy, corpo shills are like, well, we got to patent this idea. Oh, someone has it. Okay, what if we, like, add one word? Okay, what do we do this and this and this and this? And, this? And they try to be as specific as possible, but at the same time be very vague, kind of like Pokemon, so that they can say it's a very vague or it's a very specific idea that if you steal it, you steal it, while at the same time being something as simple as, oh, I killed a guy and now he remembers me. And it's not exactly as vague as these game developers make it seem to be, and it just comes across as greed. Especially when it comes to the Pokemon example, a lot of these patents were literally filed or didn't even go through until this year, right? PalWorld came out in January, so September, August, July, June, May, April, March. All of these patents didn't even exist when PalWorld was a thing. So if Nintendo's suing them or if Pokemon Company is suing PalWorld for patents that didn't even exist at the time, that's kind of stupid. And if they're also suing them based on the things we read back in 2014, again, that's also kind of stupid because everything is so vague and just so open-ended. It's what's annoying about, legal things like this. I don't think people should be able to copyright functions of video game or game features. If someone develops a feature that's great, other companies should be encouraged to try to implement it. Think of things like battle passes or like a shop or save feature or, shop systems in games, like where you trade coins for, weapons. Like, imagine if all of these old game companies started copyrighting that. Like, imagine if Doom patented the right to shooting games. We wouldn't have any shooting games. Imagine if the first Baldur's Gate was like, we're going to copyright the idea of companions. And then no other game can have companions. You see what I mean? Like, patents are just very dangerous. And just from someone who enjoys video games, regardless of what console it's on, regardless of what genre it is, I thought PalWorld's a really fun game. And I thought Pokemon's a fun game growing up. I feel like Nintendo here or Pokemon company is just really greedy, and they just really are just being extremely petty. Again, if you're going to sue them for copyright infringement and whatnot, that's one thing. But I think to sue people based on patents that half the world doesn't even know exist, people had to go through this game and like manually code it and add all this stuff in themselves. It's just a very dangerous precedent if you can be able to sue any company you want because they've slightly borrowed an idea that you patented, 13 years ago and nobody even knew about at the moment. But that's just my thoughts, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to let me know what you think down below of this situation. Let me know if you've played PalWorld, and if you like PalWorld, let me know what you think of the game and why you like it so much. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Peace out, my friends. Bye!